Right, this one's been brewing for a while. Well, over a year. Well, probably 51 years in fact, but certainly over the past year. Trains. I'll give you what happened over the weekend first, particularly Friday, and then I'll go further. So, Friday, I was in London, night after watching West Ham, and I booked for once, weeks in advance, 2 train tickets from Paddington back to St Austell at 9 o'clock in the morning, Great Western Railway, and direct train, 4 hours. Should have been the most comfortable journey ever. Quicker than driving, cheaper than flying, and better times for flying for once. So, booked the tickets. Got to Paddington Station about 8:15 Friday morning. Next thing, notification comes up on my phone. Your train has been cancelled. Please catch another train. That's it. There's no customer service involved. There's no help involved. Just the train that you booked 6 weeks ago has been cancelled without warning, without notice, and you now need to sort yourself out. Which isn't exactly good customer service. Nevertheless, we worked out, we got a train to Bristol, then we got another train to Plymouth, and then we sat on the train at Plymouth, and they said there's a signalling issue. This was at 1:03 p.m. There's a signalling issue. Old fire. So we sat on the train, and another train pulled in, then another train pulled in, and all 3 trains were held. And the guard said, train manager said, really sorry, this train's been cancelled. Get on the one on the next platform. So we got off that train, and we got on the one on the next platform. At which point that train manager said, there's a signalling issue. I don't know when it's going to be resolved. I don't know anything. I can't give you any information. I'm really sorry. So it was at least apologetic. We waited for an hour and nothing happened. So we gave up and we got a taxi, and it cost us 77 quid to get home. I then checked at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and those trains were still there. They hadn't moved. In fact, the whole of Cornwall had ground to a halt, and nobody was getting anywhere. And not at any point did Great Western Railway ever contact anyone and say, we're really sorry about this. This is a major issue and we need to sort it out, and we value your custom. That doesn't happen on railways. It happens on planes. Even Ryanair can occasionally say, we're really sorry, we've had to cancel this flight, we'll get you on the next one. But not trains, they just don't care. So it turns out I had a mate, Adi Rundle, hello Adi, who was going the opposite direction and managed to do 10 miles on the train, and was then sat on the train for 2 hours going in the opposite direction. So the whole network ground to a halt. And we've just had a month of inconvenience while they upgraded the signals in Cornwall and Devon, because having signalmen operating signals that's worked for 100 years, that's not progress. So they centralised it all in Exeter, and then within a week of it being made live, it went wrong, and the whole rail network ground to a halt. And then this morning I got up to catch a train and thought I better check. I always check Trainline, GWR, whichever one you want to check. Always worth checking first thing in the morning before you leave for the station. So I did, and it said that the train I wanted to catch was delayed by 24 minutes, and therefore I'd missed my connection. So I thought, oh well, that's the day screwed, I'll catch the next one. Typical trains, there you go. I'm almost immune to it now, because I travel on trains a hell of a lot, and I'm almost immune to it. However, I had some breakfast, I checked my phone again. That 24-minute delay has disappeared. The train's now running on time. so I can catch a train. Well, how can you plan any journey around that? 5 minutes earlier, that train was 24 minutes delayed, and it was red all the way down. I screenshotted it. I'll show you the screenshots. Here's the one that I took the first time, and here's the one that I took 5 minutes later. And as you can see, completely different. And yes, it's good that they update it, but how can you go from being 24 minutes delayed to not being delayed at all? You can't. So something's going wrong somewhere. Yet another thing's going wrong. And the problem is that you can no longer, in this country, and I include Wales in that. Funnily enough, I've just come into Wales. I'm driving, so it's all right. Variable speed limits, but you know, this is Wales. England and Wales trains are just shit. And we've had a year of strikes, and before that, exactly the same thing. And you can go back to the last time the trains ran decently in this country was during COVID, when they were absolutely superb because they had no passengers. And the trains that ran, because I still went all over the country picking up cars, and the trains that ran absolutely like clockwork. And yeah, you may have been the only passenger on the train, but the trains ran on time. So they can do it. And it's my thought now that this is a conscious decision by somebody somewhere to stop people travelling. It can only be the conclusion, because the rail companies, surely the only way they make money is to get as many people as possible on those trains. And when the trains don't run, or the trains run late, or the trains get cancelled, they don't make their money. So they must be subsidised by somebody. Like delay repay must be a government subsidised scheme. So it can only be a conscious effort to stop people travelling. I'll give you another example. I was in Cardiff, I think it may have been this year, it may have been the end of last year. Anyway, I'm stood in Cardiff, in Cardiff Central, on the station, and I'm about to catch a train to a place called Pyle, just outside Bridgend. And then all of a sudden, it flashes up, train cancelled. 1 minute before the train was due to arrive. So you instantly go on the app to see when the next train's coming. Next train's coming in 20 minutes, that's not too bad. Then that one's cancelled. Then the next one's cancelled. And this is the thing, they don't just delay trains anymore. It used to be that a train was running late, and you know, you had to wait 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, whatever it was, you just got delayed, and that was the end of it. Not anymore. They just cancel trains. They don't even bother with anything else. I was in Bristol Temple Meads last year, sat on a train with a lovely old lady, and we were trying to get to Wales, believe it or not, again. And she said, oh, looked out the window and seen the announcement board for our train, which previously said on time. Well, it was, because we were on it, about to leave the station. And she said, oh, our train's just been cancelled. It's come up cancelled on the screen. I said, that can't be right. That can't be right. We're on the train. And luckily, the guard stroke train manager was there, and he was stood next to us. So I said, here, mate, apparently this train's just been cancelled. To which he replied, and I quote, first I've heard of it. He said, hang on a minute, I'll radio the driver. So he radioed the driver. I said, all right, our train been cancelled? No, first I've heard of it. And then, lo and behold, 2 minutes later, they get told, after it's been cancelled, that it's been cancelled. And then you're up shit creek again. So you can't rely on anything anymore, because they'll just cancel it. When you're sat on a train and they cancel it, that's when you know you're in trouble. Delays, cancellations, strikes, and I know the strikes are a separate issue, but nevertheless, if you're the customer, the passenger on the train, you don't give a shit whether it's a strike, a cancellation, a delay, and I'll run through them off the top of my head as much as I can. Cancelled due to lack of train crew, cancelled due to lack of drivers, cancelled due to sickness, cancelled due to weather, cancelled due to flooding, cancelled due to leaves on the line, cancelled due to signalling issues, cancelled due to a fault on the train. There's many, many more, but they just bang them out one after the other. And meantime, one of the most expensive ways to travel in the country, if you travel on the day, is also the most unreliable. So they're trying to get everyone out of cars. There's just been a thing on Jeremy Vine about low traffic neighbourhoods, where all these do-gooders that claim that the planet's dying came on and said, well, we simply don't have a choice. We must ride bikes everywhere. It might work for you if you live in bloody London, but the rest of the country isn't a city. The rest of the country doesn't have buses that run every 2 minutes. And we need to get from A to B to live our lives. And we can't do that using public transport. It's just impossible. So don't tell me that a low traffic neighbourhood is going to help my air pollution. Well, I ain't got air pollution, I live in Cornwall, which is, granted, an exceptional item. But nevertheless, we still need to get from A to B. We still want to go places. And if we want to see the rest of the country and engage with society in things like football, concerts, even going to an IKEA, which the nearest one is 100 miles away, let's not forget that. We can't even go shopping in Cornwall. Well, you go online, I suppose, but then again, you're not leaving your house here. And that's the whole point. So you can call it a conspiracy theory. You can call it whatever you like, but it's not a theory when it becomes fact. Then it's just fact. And the facts of the matter are that this country is making a concerted effort to stop people moving about through one means or another. Weirdly, doesn't seem to affect flying at the moment, because posh people fly and they need their planes in the sky. So I can now get to London cheaper, quicker and more reliably on a plane than I can by any other means. And planes are meant to be the one thing that's killing the planet. Yet they don't seem to be affected by this legislation, or unofficial legislation, or at least not yet. So never mind your milk floats, and I don't care whether the train runs on electric, gas or marshmallows. It's irrelevant what the train runs on if the train don't run. And as for the train not stopping Camborne Wednesday, it don't stop there any day of the week anymore, because it just doesn't run. And it's about time somebody actually highlighted this and said, what's going on with the trains? Because it's nothing to do with the strikes, it's nothing to do with the train companies. There's something else going on here which is causing this. Because it's not in anyone's interest, particularly as a private limited company, to cancel things and have to refund everyone. That's in nobody's interest. They're not making money out of that. So something somewhere is going on. And as yet, I don't know what it is. I mean, you could call it Agenda 2030. You can call it a UN thing. You can call it climate change. All those things apply. But somebody somewhere is doing this. And somebody somewhere is doing it deliberately. And it's shit. So, in the words of a wise man who once coined a phrase related to travel in the 2020s, future, my arse.